OKC now just one win away from their first championship. And yes, we say it's their first. It's not Seattle's. Like, we're not doing this weird Seattle, Oklahoma City thing, okay? Either way, game 5 in the books in OKC with the Thunder winning 120-109. Plenty of storylines from what Jalen Williams and SGA did.
Yeah.
The Thunder bench, Tyrese Haliburton. So much to discuss. Where do we start with this
I think
one?
you just start with Jalen Williams.
Dude.
Like, because that was the story from the start of the game. And the fact that he did it all game. And is attacking the rim and being aggressive on the offensive end.
Yeah, the drives he had were spectacular.
Yeah.
And I felt like that he really set the tone for Oklahoma City in that first quarter, just coming out and attacking, even off the ball too.
Mm-hmm.
Some great cuts. OKC's offense was flowing so much better compared to last game. I mean, yeah, they were missing shots. I think they had, 10 assists last game?
Yeah.
Well, they had 10 in the first quarter. And Jalen Williams, the last 2 games, seeing some of his finishes around the rim, those turnaround jumpers that he hits, even with Neesmith on him. He just uses Neesmith's body, turnaround Jay.
Hitting some threes.
Oh, my God.
3 of 5 from beyond the arc.
He ends up with 40 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. And I think it's interesting when we talk about these players because OKC's had so much success the last couple of years, right? And so expectations naturally grow.
For sure.
But you have to check yourself and remember, these guys are still younger players. This is one of the youngest teams in the league.
In the NBA Finals, in NBA Finals history.
Yeah, tied with the Blazers from 1970 something.
Really?
That's what they show on the broadcast tonight.
Good job.
Or that was the last team that was younger or something. Anyway, Jalen Williams, the way people talked about him the last couple of years in the playoffs, I don't know, he might be a playoff joker. The light's too bright for him. I don't know. It's he just finished his second year. Can we let this guy feel it out a little bit? And even in this playoff series, they'll be man, he had an off game. And it's not to say they need him, obviously, to have big games. But he does so much out there defensively, guarding up, playing physical, getting steals. He does a lot of great shit out there. And now what you're seeing is throughout this playoffs, going through the ups and downs, and here he is in a massive game, huge game for Oklahoma City, and he shows up with a 40-piece.
Yeah. And it's
let these kids grow.
Hey, let these kids be kids. Let them grow, huh? The 40-piece. It's how he generated the 40-piece. And it really quick, just hitting on exactly what you said. Every single game, you can rely on him on the defensive end. His long arms, being in the passing, the effort, always being there. When he doesn't have the offensive games, you don't always have to justify it and be yeah, he's still young. Sure, you want to see him grow and want to see him do things. Having a 40-point game in an NBA Finals is absolutely wild. And thinking about how he got the 40 points, just being aggressive and getting into the paint, finding these angles and then getting the step and being extra explosive. I was so impressed with his ability to not only get to the rim, but then to finish at the rim as well, because it always felt like hands were there. People were trying to be vertical. It's not like he just had a wide open lane every single time, but he created such beautiful lanes for himself throughout the game.
And he's so good going high window with either hand.
Yes.
Which is just so impressive.
It is.
He ends up with 40, as I mentioned. He had 18 points in the paint in this game, too. 18 points in the paint for him. 14 of 25 shooting. He was 9 of 12 at the free throw line. Had 6 rebounds, 4 assists in the win for OKC. So he was awesome. And then SGA was spectacular, too. And it's funny because I look at his efficiency, 9 of 21. Okay, not the most efficient night. But, man, I felt like he was driving better than he has in a minute. And he's getting, of course, to his spots to score. But, man, when he was getting into the paint, he was getting off that ball so fast and finding the open person.
10 assists. And I mean, you said they had 10 assists all of last game. And then he has 10 of the team's 24 assists in this game. And it's because exactly what you just said. He wasn't hesitating. He was getting off the ball. He was being decisive. When you play like that and you have a roster like this around you, you can always do these great things. Now, we've seen the Pacers do a good job throughout this series disrupt with their defense, their activity. I mean, it especially felt like it last game. I feel like that same force wasn't there. Not questioning effort or anything like that. No. All those things were there. But that same tempo and force, because OKC just hit first and then they never looked back.
Dude.
And they hit first on both ends, even with being fast on the offense.
Yeah, that was talking about that with Jalen Williams after the game. He's like, he played with force. And you're right. There was another level to it. And to Indiana's credit, again, another game where we're sitting here going, it feels like it's a larger deficit. Just like last game, it felt like, oh, Indiana was in complete control. Then going back to game one when OKC was in complete control. And you're like, man, they don't go away. I mean, Siakam hits a second chance three that cuts it to 2 at 95-93. And then boom, OKC responds 100-93 after that. And it felt like they kind of pulled away from there. But it's just, this series has been so bizarre. And on one hand, you're like, OKC, come on, close the door, figure it out. And I go, this Indiana team is just a hard team to close out. And this is on a night where Haliburton was beyond ineffective.
Yeah.
And they were struggling shooting at times, but they kept pushing. And they had a much better second half. They actually outscored Oklahoma City in the second half, 64-61. So I think there are like some positive things.
There totally
for
were.
sure. It's just, again, it's hard to draw from where now all of a sudden you've lost back-to-back games. And you're one loss away.
Well, the back-to-back losses, but also I just feel like, again, you think about the way that the Pacers played throughout this game, and it's like they were playing so well with OKC just playing a little bit better. I mean, you go into that third quarter and you think about your savior, TJ McConnell.
TJ McConnell is just, again, utterly ridiculous. He's just a really good player. And it doesn't make sense because if you were looking at TJ McConnell, like if you're one of those people that like get obsessed with the draft, but you're not like obsessed with college basketball and you're looking at measurables.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wait, this like
6'1"
6'1" white point guard with like a 6'2" wingspan. Yeah. He's not going to make it in the league. And he's just such a disruptor. Like his ability to push in transition, change direction, change speed, finish through contact.
You have to add willpower on the stat sheet just for TJ McConnell. And there are some other, I mean, obviously you can think about Alex Caruso and some other players out there as well. But no, he was the reason why this Pacers team could stay in it from, I guess, when you looked at the score. Because so many times when it was still a 10-point game, a 13-point game, OKC just felt like they had control, but it was TJ that finally gave this, not only this burst of energy, and
they were feeding off of it.
It was, yes, the whole team was feeding off it, but he was contributing so much off the bench. 18 points, 8 of 14 in his 22 minutes, knocked down a 3, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. But I really just thought it was his ability to get into the paint and find his teammates, get those sprays, get the offense moving. And then there was even times when I think they were trying to feed it down to Pascal Siakam, weak side. The help finally came over from OKC. TJ notices nobody's really seeing me because they're focused on Pascal, and he just flashes in the paint in that perfect little open area. And it's just like, yes, do the little things. And it just, and I think he ended up creating a shot for himself there, but sometimes that creates so much for others.
He had 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals in 22 minutes.
I just mentioned that stat line with the minutes.
But
you're emphasizing it?
Yeah, I think I started laughing too because and this is no disrespect.
Okay.
Because I'm sitting here while you're saying all these great things about TJ McConnell. And so can I be honest with you? Didn't hear you say that.
I knew it.
Okay. No, but because here's where my brain went.
You would have been so pissed at me.
I went, wow, we're spending so much time talking about TJ McConnell and a loss. And one of the things we get dinged on in YouTube comments.
Why?
Is that we never spend much time on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And it's funny because like
I'm so
in that moment, I just went like, we start with Jalen Williams and we spent like 20 seconds on SGA. Like, 31-10, awesome spraying ball. Anyway, TJ McConnell, you know what I mean? And so I do at some point, we need to go back to SGA and expand a little bit because he was a monster tonight too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go back to SGA right now. Okay.
I'm like, dude, this started to do a TJ McConnell pod, and the Pacers are on the brink of elimination.
One of the first things that you said when you mentioned SGA you're like, yeah, 9 of 21, sure, inefficient number right there.
No,
like
but
that was one of the first things you said too.
I said he was a great game. And
Yes.
then I said, yeah, I know he was inefficient, but he
Yes,
was doing
there we
so
go.
many other things
There
out
we
there.
go.
Awesome. I mean, the shot making. I think he's just one of those players that maybe years down the road people will appreciate more. I think there's just fair or unfair. Like he gets dinged because of they call him a foul merchant. It's this lazy narrative, in my opinion.
Yes.
I'm like, he drives more than anybody in the league. He's so good at creating contact. Does he get some calls? Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. A lot of players do. And guess what? Do officials miss calls? Yeah, because they're human. Until AI takes over,
threatening officials and saying call this or you will die.
No, and so like, there's definitely stuff I'm happy they don't call. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
he's trying, but like, it takes away. Like, so push this aside for a second. Having a guy that can hit contested shots in the mid range, just getting to a spot. His strength is so underrated. Like in transition, using his shoulder to create space to finish at the rim. He had that one finish on Siakam tonight where I'm like, Siakam could not have played better defense. And that was SGA's just strength, body control, the balance, everything.
Well, are you talking about the short range one because I think he had two different ones on Siakam where it was just
I was talking
like,
about the rim.
okay, so you're
Yeah.
talking about the one at the rim. I'm talking about the one that was like in the short range. He got into the paint enough, like maybe a little lower than the free throw line. And Siakam's guarding him like almost perfectly. There's nothing else Siakam could do in this situation. And SGA just still was like about to hesitate and then just puts up a shot. It's contested by Siakam, who has long arms, goes in. And I remember just thinking, poor Siakam. Like what else can you played
dude.
such good defense? And if anything, I think there was even a little grab by Siakam, like being as close as he could to him without the officials calling anything. And SGA still makes it his shot making ability at the rim, in the mid range,
He's
everywhere
such a
on
gifted
the floor.
scorer, dude.
Yeah.
It's real. And then you think about what he can do defensively. I thought he was fantastic tonight defensively with some of the blocks he had. I think I wrote down a sequence that just blew me away with SGA. I mean, the one thing in the first quarter I noted, SGA with some powerful drives tonight. I love seeing that same thing that Jalen Williams had. Oh, there was that one play. It was like a Haliburton Obi Toppin pick and roll. Toppin was on the roll and SGA was the help. And he got vertical and forced a miss. Like, that's a hard play to make on Obi Toppin, who can go dunk on your head. And here's SGA, your best player, in help, making sure to put his body on the line, but also stay disciplined, get big and long, and deter that shot. And then you had like the next play where like Nesmith was blocked by Chet. It was just like right after that. It was just defensive play after defensive play. So SGA brings it, but OKC's defense in that first half was
It was phenomenal. And I think that's where we can give even some love to the bench, because you think about Case and Wallace, you think about Caruso on the defensive end, but also you really look at someone like Wiggins and what he did in his 22 minutes, 14 points, 5 rebounds. I mean, you were just, 4 for 7 from beyond the arc. The production from OKC's bench tonight on both ends of the floor,
especially after last game,
tremendous.
When OKC's offense looks so rattled in game 4 and you're watching it, you're like, what the hell's going on? And Wiggins didn't, I don't even think played in the second half. It just looked bad.
Yeah.
And Case and Wallace was not good. And both those guys tonight were better. Way better. I mean, it was the scoring, but they weren't liabilities where it looked really messed up in Indy. And like everyone says, I don't know why this is, but they say role players play better at home. Why is that? I don't get that phrase, but it kind of lived up to those expectations tonight in Oklahoma City.
That's why. I
feel like maybe it's just Reggie Miller who says it every time. Role players play better at home.
Oh,
like,
I love a good cliche
I need to know the
line.
science behind that.
Yeah. Give me.
Or maybe just role players are inconsistent because they're role players. They're not stars, Some nights are going to be good, sometimes they're not. And sometimes it's better at home.
That's also a great point. 4 steals for Caruso and for Wallace. So,
yeah, they had 15 as a team, and those two combined for 8 of them.
And one of my favorite steals, Alex Caruso, when he taps the ball away at the half court line into the back court and then dives on the floor. And then I'm like, oh, great dive. I just thought the ball was going to just keep rolling or something. the will to just like extend the arm and corral the basketball on the ground. Like he even gets up and he's just like, oh, okay, I got some floor burns. Like I'm good to go. Like they kept going. They didn't stop tonight. This game was still so fun. Even feeling like OKC had control the entire time because you still didn't know what was going to happen. You just weren't sure.
Yeah. And it's tough for Indiana now because
very tough.
One, this Oklahoma City team they got back-to-back wins finally for them. And they didn't play well last game. They stole it. And tonight, I think they look more like themselves, but this is a huge credit to who Indiana is as a team. I think some people go, man, OKC's not executing as well as they should. I guess, but and then maybe in the second half, right? They get scored by 3. But like honestly, Indiana's really good.
Yeah.
And
J-Dub said that in his post-game interview too with Lisa Salters, giving them respect.
Yeah. And you should give them respect because it's just not easy. And because they don't stop coming at you, dude, you have to withstand these runs and these blows. Like TJ McConnell comes in and provides juice for them. And then Siakam, I thought, was really strong tonight. What did he finish with?
Huge.
He had 28. He had 28 points, 9 of 15 shooting, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He did have 6 turnovers. Turnovers were a huge problem in this game. Indiana with 23. That turned into 32 points off turnovers.
Yeah, really shitty. And I think it wasn't just them obviously turning the ball over. It was OKC's defense up in their grill. But like the difference was even from last game, even though the Pacers lost, it felt like their decisions were truly altered, even mentally, with some of the pressure, where I felt like in other games, it's been the physicality that's really taken over, that's grabbed the ball away, that's done these certain things where it just disrupted them wherever they went. I mean, there was a late turnover by Tyrese where he kind of dribbled to the left wing and Dort is on him. And I think he thought, oh, wait, I have room for a second, was going to shoot it, and then he doesn't. Then he's like off balance trying to pass it out. And those moments were happening just too much with their top guys. And we're not going to excuse it with Tyrese. It's like, obviously he wasn't having a good game and then he gets injured. But then even after he's injured, you just see how much this team really does need him as that extra floor manager.
Tyrese in this game ends up with 4 points. He did not make a shot tonight. 0 for 6. All of his points came at the free throw line. He had 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers in 34 minutes. And yeah, it was that first quarter he slipped. And then he came up grabbing his leg, and he just didn't look right after that. But then he definitely had some bursts when he was playing too.
Yeah.
But he was not looking to score tonight. And I don't know if that's a discomfort thing because, he's a little banged up right now. Carlisle said after the game, he goes, yeah, he's not 100%, but like none of us are. Yeah. And he's going to be playing next game. So they're not trying to make too much of this. Tyrese wants to be out there, but like if he's out there, he can't just be a decoy. No. You know what I mean? And I think he had flashes of some playmaking in the second half, which was good. But I mean, 4 points.
Well, it goes to even what we were saying at the end of the game when Carlisle elected to put TJ McConnell back in the game with like 3 minutes left. And you said it, you're like little too late. Because it's because what he was adding, not only from energy, but contributing with points and everything. But it was, who do you take out?
The options were Haliburton or Nembhard. And
at that point, it would have been Haliburton. But then that would have been so weird because you also probably have your star player telling you that he's feeling fine. Like, let me play. Let me work through this.
And you know that Haliburton can go make it. It's a tough call at the moment.
It
right?
is.
You don't want to pull Haliburton.
Yep.
Because of what he can do offensively. It's like he can hit a big shot. It's going to happen, right? Or he's going to make a big, play, setting up a teammate, getting in the paint. And then Nembhard, it's like, well, you can't take him out because he's the best guy to put on SGA and like he's one of our best guys, but he was also struggling offensively. I think I would have, if I'm Carlisle, I probably take out Nembhard just to see just a quick burst a little earlier. When it looked like, okay, you know what? It's back to 9. Let's see if TJ can spark us for a few minutes, get us back in the game. Then we can go to Nembhard or go back to Nembhard or do whatever. I just felt like they went to him too late, like you said. And TJ was really effective tonight. Like he filled up the stat sheet and he played just 21 minutes. And you felt the juice out there. And I think even for OKC, this is a good lesson. Game 6, I'm sure, all bets are off for a game 6. If Tyrese Haliburton gets a couple of days off for Thursday's game and he's still not right, Carlisle may have to pull that plug earlier and go to TJ for an extended run. So my point, though, is I do feel like OKC needs to adjust their defensive game plan a little bit with TJ. And I'm not saying overreact and treat him and face guard him like Tyrese Haliburton, but give me a little more resistance on him.
You have enough players to do so.
Yeah, when they left him unguarded. Yeah. And it's like, look, teams do this where they go, hey, he's a cold shooter, so we don't come out and contest. It's like, yeah, but this cold shooter is also, he's got 13 points right now, and he's feeling outstanding. And
it's the NBA
juice.
Finals. Just get your fucking ass on him.
Uncontested jumper. And what's he yelling at OKC?
What was
guard me or something like that? I don't know. Or,
was it guard
you got to
me?
guard me or something like that. He was yelling at him. But I don't know. It's like, it's a little disrespectful. And I guess that doesn't matter. It's more about the fact that, like, this guy's hurting you. You got to guard him. You got to guard him. Sorry, you have to adjust.
It's about adjusting because it's the right thing to do in the NBA Finals. And they have the ability, the switch ability to do so, to close out the right way, to get up in him like he's Steph Curry at time. Like, do whatever you got to, just take him out of his game completely. They will change their game plan, especially if Carlisle has to go to McConnell earlier. But just looking right now, if Tyrese isn't going to be 100%, that's a tough thing to even swallow right now. I think we got to...
There's not a worse team to not be 100% against than Oklahoma City.
Yeah. And we can sit here and go like, Siakam's just got to do this, and Nesmith, he's got to keep hitting shots. Okay, but how are we generating those shots for Nesmith? How are we making sure that Siakam can still be aggressive and go to the basket if a lot more attention is going to be on him because he's the guy that's 100% that is out there, that is scoring. I don't know. It's going to be tough for the Pacers. You can't count them out, but at the same time, after a game like this, after you see OKC play the way that you know that they can play, you do lean back that way once again.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
It's fair, and it's fair to be like, hey, I think OKC's got the advantage to win the series. Is Indiana going to win the next 2 games? That seems tough to imagine right now, but I think they could definitely win game 6.
Yeah.
I mean, the way this series has gone, like, we've seen these lows, these highs. Who's to say like Haliburton doesn't get treatment and comes out and hits 25 points,
for sure,
hits some big threes, or Nembhard is knocking down shots. Like, every game is different. I mean, we saw Oklahoma City last game had 10 assists and made 3 threes. Tonight, how many assists did they finish with?
24.
24. They actually, that slowed down big time.
It did.
They had 24 assists tonight on 40 makes. Last game, they had 10 assists. And then last game, they were 3 of 16 from 3. Tonight, they hit 14.
Yep. I mean, it was a huge difference from beyond the arc. But then it was like they were feeling so good at getting into the paint. They finished with 42 points in the paint, but it was their ability to get into the paint to create something else offensively that just kept helping them generate some of these open looks for their guys.
And that's another credit. I'm telling you, going back to Indiana, because you say 42, but they were 21 of 49. And that number it started off super hot. They had 16 points in the first quarter and they finished with 42. It's only 26 the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And I thought Indiana did a much better job competing and trying to make life difficult, but also OKC hit 3s tonight, which was a game changer.
And you say with Pacers competing and everything, I mean, you think about the way that they were getting those second chance opportunities. How many times was I like, okay, this is the thing that's going to keep them in a game, even if it generated the 21 second chance points, it was just those extra possessions. It was to deflate OKC. It was to tire them out, have them make them work one more time on the defensive end and put so much energy there. It's those categories that you're going to have to see from this Pacers team in this next game, especially if they don't have one of their top guys 100%.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine for game 6.
Okay.
Get some treatment, the 2 days off.
Yeah.
And there has to be a certain level of adrenaline in a game like this. I mean, this is it. This is their season.
This could be it.
On the line. And, you know, we become prisoners of the moment a lot with these teams. And it's like, Indiana fans probably like, dude, we'll be back next year.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees. You may never get back to the championship again. It could be 20 years. You might get back. You know what I mean? So this is it.
You sound like a Kings fan.
Well, it's just reality. I mean, go back to Oklahoma City in 2012. They're like, oh, dude, KD, Harden, and Westbrook. No one's breaking that team up. They're going to go back to the championship the next 5 years.
It's wild.
They didn't get back until now. So, like, yeah, this is it. And I'm eager to see what he looks like. But the biggest thing, if he is out there, do not pass up shots. You just cannot pass up looks. You have to look to be more of a threat.
Well, I thought even in the beginning of the game, before he was even hurt, there was this quick little, it wasn't a step back, or no, it was a step back on Hartenstein. And it was like not as quick as we've seen from him before. And you even said it, you go, God, I kind of wish he took him to the rack there. Kind of wish he just drove on him there. Like you could tell like his flow, his rhythm wasn't there. And I think even Doris had mentioned like him missing all these threes and since the last game to now. And so like just trying to find his groove, find his confidence. And when is he going to find it? Well, he's got to find it quick in this next one.
I think it was last game, maybe the game before, they were mentioning his ankle was giving him issues, right?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
But then on Twitter, someone showed that he had tape on his like Achilles area. And so, you know, you start hearing calf and then he's got tape on the Achilles. Like you have to be really careful with that. And so you wonder, like, is there discomfort? And then you put that aside because again, Carlisle saying it's great. He's playing, right?
Yeah.
Oklahoma City's just done a great job on him in this series, as we thought they would. Like, yeah, he's hit some big shots and he's had some good moments for sure. But this defense is just outstanding. And it's just been a good test of wills where you see this elite defense that puts up numbers like we haven't seen in years during a regular season, some incredible moments. But then you have this offense that's kind of unlike things we really haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And it's so explosive and so hard to guard. It's just like, what a battle. I love it.
It's been so fun to watch. And there's moments like even tonight, again, it goes back to like whether it's Lou Dort up on someone or Alex Caruso, and you just see them stay in front, show the jersey, the lateral movement. You know, it's been Nemhard in these other games. And I mean, just to get that in every single finals game. And we haven't had a game where it's just felt like completely one team or another, right? Except was that game 2?
Yeah.
Game 2, I want to say that was, I know we've been watching so much that's like all blending. I want to say it was game 2 with the OKC win. Did they win? Yeah, just
123-107. Yeah. But it was but it was still like kind of it was a weird one.
It was.
This whole series has just been interesting because you've seen moments where the teams look like they pull away, but it's still close enough. Yeah. Game 2 was 123-107.
Yeah. So overall, super fun, super excited for game 6.
Separately.
What?
Glad they brought back the game intros. And it's amazing that ESPN or the NBA, maybe both, were like, I'm going to show these game intros. And Shams made it a point to like tweet it out today. Like it was news, like breaking news. Here's my alert going off. Is there a KD trade? No. Game intros back for the first time since 2013.
Thanks, Shams.
I
did like seeing that tweet.
I was a little surprised that it's been that long since we've had game introductions in the NBA Finals, since 2013.
I mean, maybe you can fit in more commercials.
Well,
more
that's
money.
for sure what it is. It's always about that. It's always about some sponsor, but it did set the tone a little bit. Like it made it feel like a bigger moment. I also think they should just be on every game. But if you're gonna bare minimum, do them for big playoff games or finals games. And I thought that was really cool. I also want you to give me your thoughts on the halftime show tonight with Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins talking about Tyrese.
I mean, you know how you shouldn't allow all your biases to just like shine through? I get it. You know, his bit with being a Knicks fan and always wanting, I don't even care about that one. Like that one never kills me when he does that. But obviously what has been talked about with him and Tyrese lately and him going on the First Take, is that the show still? First Take, and kind of talking shit about Tyrese and doing whatever there. But then at the half, he misspoke. And people are clipping it, and it's kind of hilarious. But he's like, Tyrese was awful before he got injured. I'm glad he got injured. I mean, I'm not glad he got injured.
But it was also just the way they were talking about him. And Kendrick Perkins like, oh, he's got to sit. Blah. And they were just like, bench him. I'm like, my goodness. I feel like if it was the other way, like I could see a situation where he decided right after that play, he's going to sit the rest of the way. And then at halftime, they come on like, he's got to play in this moment. You know what I mean?
You got to find a way in any way. No,
it's just such a weird energy.
Well, I just don't understand the take. Like, I think it's just such a lazy take. And I think if you weren't like playing solitaire during a game and just watching the game, I'm kidding. That's kind of
no, I'm not.
Throwing
I think
shade.
Look, no.
I don't like to throw too much shade.
Morgan, No.
Unless I know for a fact.
First of all, he's going to be our future president. But to put that aside.
So gross.
But put that aside for a second. No, it's just he shouldn't be on solitaire. And that's okay to call out. Like, I'm sorry. Playing solitaire during the NBA Finals. This is not like you're covering an NBA game that's a 30-point game and you're about to go on and like and you're like, I'm going to kill some time for a second. This is big.
Tell me that you don't like basketball without telling me.
Yeah,
or that you really don't love it.
Sure.
Right.
And by the way, the least surprising thing ever, but it was just hilarious to actually see. I saw it on social and I went, is that like photoshopped?
You say it's the least surprising thing, but I can't imagine being on the biggest stage and not watching every single second.
I mean, you watch that halftime show though.
Yeah, well, you're right, and they do it anyway, and they just stay generic, and it sucks, it's weird, and I just think it's just not. It's disrespectful to the game at times, but I thought this halftime show specifically was just like, I didn't like it. It was just a little nasty toward Tyrese.
Yeah, I don't know.
It rubs me the wrong way.
Another thing that would be talked about for years had the Pacers won.
Yeah.
Is a play that will probably get lost in NBA Finals history.
What?
The Nesmith putback.
Oh my God.
Which, watching it live, I'm like, what? I don't know what just did that. That's missed or what happened. And then once the broadcasters didn't know either, I'm like, oh my God, that was crazy. And then you see the replay.
So Doris called it because Mike Breen didn't know. And then Doris Burke recognized Alex Caruso taking the ball out of bounds, and she goes, "Oh my God, Mike Breen, no, that went in." And then he's like, I think he was like looking around, probably at courtside, the stats, and being like, "Wait, did it for sure? Was it a bucket?" And they confirmed it was a bucket. But I knew as soon as Alex Caruso was on the baseline with the basketball, taking it out of bounds, and I'm like, "OKC ball! Oh my God, the ball went in." That was wild.
It was weird. It almost at one point looked like it was just a bad like tip and it went out of bounds. That's kind of what I thought it was. And so that the whole Caruso thing didn't mess with it. I'm like, okay, turnover. Then they say it went in. I'm like, what?
What?
Just weird. It was a wild putback.
Yeah. And it was, Chet was going up for the rebound and it was like Nesmith came between his hands to just like throw it down perfectly.
Chet had a great game.
Oh yeah. We definitely
really good
just
defense
over that.
But also, Chet, like, I do not want to see Nesmith crashing and getting a rebound over you.
Oh, stop. It's not like he had his body on him. That wasn't his guy to put his body on anyway.
Chet had some awesome defensive plays. I know we talked a little bit about that earlier, but I think that's those three guys, man. I mean, and to think they got Chet and Jalen Williams in the same draft.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Jalen Williams, who was not projected to be like a lottery guy, he did all these pre-draft workouts and kept rising and rising. Mm-hmm. Went to Santa Clara.
I know.
Drafted number 12 after you get Chet. Like, it's wild how these, or was it 12 or 13? Either way. I think Ousmane Dieng went first and then it was Jalen Williams. But,
good memory.
Man, when you can nail the draft, man, it's such a game changer. And Jaylen Williams looked like an absolute star tonight. Mm-hmm. And he was all NBA this year. He was all defensive team, right?
Now you're just naming things, saying things that you don't know for sure. Like, make sure you know it. That's what you would say to me. Like, this is what I would do. Why are you pulling what I would do? Deuce, is he an all-star?
Yeah, he's all NBA third team this year. I knew he was an all-star and all defensive second team. So yeah, all NBA third team, all-star and all-defensive second team, and you get him with the 12th pick in the draft.
The J-Dub game.
Dude.
Forever. Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
Let us know what you thought about Game 6 or Game 5. What do you feel like about Game 6?
Oh,
Drop your predictions below. Let us know what we missed and hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo.